There is a six-figure business that is directly in front of you that you could start doing today if you just knew it existed. That's right. There's a six-figure business that is in front of you right now that if you took action on it, you could replace your regular job with this thing, right? Like a lot of people don't understand the power of being a speaker, right? Like, let me put it like this. Every single person has a story to tell. You have a story to tell. Like something happened to you in your life, doesn't matter what it is. Maybe you had a traumatic childhood. Maybe you had a great childhood, but you were an athlete in high school and you hurt yourself. Maybe you put yourself in a position where you overcame something very dramatic, right? Like maybe you were sexually assaulted. Maybe something like that happened to you. Well, you can tell a story about that. You can give a speech about that. You can create a problem framework about that and then find the right audience for that. And with that audience, with that opportunity, with just your words, no matter how many years it took you to go to school to learn, earn your 80, 90K a year job, and no matter, like, you could make more than your monthly salary now in 1 hour of your month. Let me break it down for you. A lot of people don't realize this, but some of the top motivational speakers, like obviously we're talking like Gary Vaynerchuk, we're talking Tony Robbins. These individuals are bringing in, let's go ahead and say anywhere from 75 to probably $500,000 per engagement. Think about those numbers, staggering numbers. I mean, $500,000 to get on stage for an hour or two, to talk, to inspire, to do what they do best. But even the mid-range, beginner speakers and semi-pro pro speakers get paid somewhere between 5 and 30 grand. Now, you might be asking, who would pay me $5,000 to get on stage and speak? You probably wouldn't pay somebody $5,000 to come to an event you're hosting to speak, right? And that's why you can't believe it. But the problem is you don't understand how business works. Businesses, they have a budget for speakers, a budget for people like you to come in and talk. And that budget is not the money from the actual person who's booking you. It's the budget from the budget, the business budget. And so it's not actually their money. They don't care. The money's there to be spent. And in many cases, they don't spend it. It doesn't happen to have, they won't have it next year, right? And so, at least in the government sense. And so the point is, it's nothing for a company to pay a speaker that matches their need, 5K, 10K, for 1 or 2 hour engagement. In many cases, not even 2 hours, really just that 1 hour engagement. And so people don't realize it, but the speaking industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry. It's said that the global public speaking industry is worth over $1.9 billion annually, with corporate events and personal development seminars fueling demand. So what does that mean? That means that this is a booming industry and you can take part in it. You can speak only a few times a month and you'll still make big money, right? So let's go ahead and think about it like this. If you booked, let's say you want to make $120,000 a year. I don't know how much you're making right now, but 120 grand a year is a pretty good livable wage, right? All you'd have to do is book one $10,000 job per month, or two $5,000 jobs, or two $10,000 jobs doubles that. You can be making $250,000 a year. How do you do it though? It's about the setup. It's about the entire process. And that becomes a little bit more challenging because it takes a little bit of time and people don't usually want to invest that time. Now, it doesn't have to take a lot of time, but it does require focus. It requires you putting in the effort and putting in a certain level of attention and branding yourself as a speaker. Like there's work that needs to be done with that. Now, you have to think about the doors that open up with you. Like if you were, for example, making $140,000 a year as a speaker, what would you do with the rest of your time? If you're doing 2 jobs a month, what would you do with the rest of your time? Maybe continue to work on building your systems, booking out the next couple of jobs. Sure, that'll take a couple hours a week. But what about writing a book? What about, having a course? What about, doing coaching, consulting, right? Like everything lines up. You have a niche, you have a thing that you're talking about. You can help people with that on many different levels. It doesn't have to be just on stage. So it opens up the door for you. And, ultimately, the lifestyle can be pretty incredible. I mean, we're talking about you traveling all over the world. We're talking about you doing a lot of cool things that you wouldn't normally do. I mean, think about this. If you were able to find a way to build your entire speaking business from beginning to end, like learn how to speak. That's number one. Learn how to captivate an audience. Learn how to use your body language, voice inflection. Know what it means to take a pause, to draw effect, build that whole speech, right? It takes about an hour of your time to present this speech. Now you got your perfect speech. Okay, now what? Well, you need to actually find a way to build a business. So it's about having a system in place. It's about having people reach out to you. How do you find a way for people to find you? How do you find a way for people to find you? How do you have a system to reach them? This is exactly what I teach people. This is what I do. So if you want to consider telling your story so you can make six figures, so that way you can replace your career with a lucrative speaking career, so that way you can walk on stages. And I know it may seem far-fetched right now, but trust me when I tell you, it's not. About 7 years ago is when I started my motivational speaking career. And I could never imagine somebody handing me a check for $10,000. And then one day it happened. And it happened so fast that I didn't really have time to appreciate it because it was on to the next thing. And that's what it's all about. It's about moving through it. It happens quick. And so I want to help you set this up and replace your income or just supplement it. Build something that you love. If you're curious about it, don't hesitate. Go ahead and check out this link in the description. There's some information there, especially if you follow me on Instagram. I have a broadcast channel where I give a lot of good information in there and I help people build this business. Most of that stuff is free. I do have a coaching program that you probably could have guessed by now. If you're interested in that, you can also reach out to me. There's a link down there for that as well. Or you can reach out to me on Instagram to get involved in that. I do classes every 2 weeks, and that's a 6-week course. So hopefully this was informational and you got some really good ideas and maybe even spark some interest that is going to, help change your life. Anyway, have a great day.